So I'm here right now with Ishmael. They're in their practice space in Brooklyn, right? Or are you in Manhattan?
No, we're in Brooklyn.
Oh, Brooklyn till the end. I mean, I know you guys. You guys released your last EP on my record label, and I've talked to you guys a bunch of times. But I figured we'd do this and talk about some of the stuff that maybe I already know, but maybe some of the people on the internet don't know yet. So talk a little bit about like how you guys started this band. You guys have known each other for a long time, right?
Yeah, we grew up together for the most part.
Yeah, we're all from Port Washington on Long Island, and Nick and I met when we were 3. His mom was my preschool teacher, and met Aaron when we were in middle school, so we were like 10. So
Playdates,
yeah.
Were you playing instruments from like a young age, or was that something you picked up later?
Well, independently, I think we played them, but then like
different instruments though. I played trumpet for a long time.
Yeah, I played drums and guitar, and then I stopped playing drums when I got to high school.
Yeah.
I've basically always been playing drums.
see, that was the issue. You had 2 drummers and a trumpet player, and you're like, this isn't going to work. Like, this isn't the band that we need. Well, you guys have still stuck to it, and I guess all this music, like all this time playing music, is why you guys are able to play such complicated stuff. I mean, a lot of people, I guess, if they were listening to your music, would describe it as like math music, right? So one question I had is, what would you define your own music as?
I feel like we make a lot of different kinds of music, but if you like had to pick a word for it, I wouldn't use math. I would use progressive rock, because we're like way more influenced by those old Brits, like the guys in Genesis and
the Dinosaurs.
That's more where our like complex side comes from. It doesn't really come from math rock, though we like math rock and we can see how it sounds like at times with what we do. But
yeah, there was a time when we were sort of more actively pursuing that as a sound, but that wasn't what we were about, really.
I think on some level we just hear things in our time signatures. Like we wouldn't even think about it as a time signature. It's just like the phrase is the phrase, and so you write your part around the song, and if it comes out in 13 or comes out in 4, it doesn't matter. You do the best justice you can.
That's actually one of the questions I had was, how do you guys write in that sort of style? It seems like it's just free-flowing. Because you can't really set out to try and write something in complex signatures like that.
Actually, I do sometimes set out to write complex time signatures, because I'll come up with something and it'll be in 4/4 or like, an easy 6/8 or something, and I'll be like, all right, how do I make this complicated? But in such a way that it's not complicated for its own sake. It's like, how do I, inject this with a little dynamic, time signature playing with.
Definitely interesting.
And a lot of times in the room, we're just like, we'll do a thing until we like burst out laughing from how weird it is, and then that's how we know it's good. So we'll be like, okay, we got to do this. It's more like patterns than time signatures a lot of the time. We'll just like try really weird sounding things.
Right.
Nice. I guess that's what gives it sort of that unique, like, I don't know, energy. Like it could change at any moment, just because that's, I guess, what you guys were feeling at the exact moment when you wrote it. Speaking of writing some new stuff, you guys have been working on some new material. So how has that been coming, and what can we expect that to sound like?
It's been coming like insanely well. We can't, get it together fast enough, as
It's a lot. It's a lot coming all at once.
The idea is just keep kind of like
we keep making up names for the songs and forgetting them because they're just nonsense. So we like actually we started to demo so that we actually know which song we're talking about, instead of being like, the one that sounds like a Disney villain, like, because that can change from day to day. And just like on the old progressive rock tip, we're trying to like do motifs and themes that we like recur throughout the songs, like Lamb Lies Down on Broadway kind of thing. Really pulling it together, just not just thematically, but like in the music itself.
Right.
I think we're also kind of exploring some less obvious influences in this. I know like the Smiths are kind of bubbling up out of what we're writing right now, which is not something you would associate with King Crimson and math music in general, but this kind of like dreaminess that is nice to capture.
Yeah, the Smiths are one of those bands that are so good, and like everyone, like who wouldn't want some of the Smiths in their music? But then since Morrissey has just become such an asshole in his later life, like everyone's like, oh, like, I don't really want to talk about the Smiths, but can we just like listen to them and never bring it up?
Yeah, I know. I mean, Johnny is such a great guitar player and just like so inventive and cool sounding in terms of his tone, and you know, I feel like he doesn't get the respect, or not the respect, but the attention that Marcy does. Marcy's just a fucking loudmouth, you know.
Yeah, that's how it works. Is the vocalist always stealing all the attention, like Nick back there, right in the middle.
I get loud. It's not just like stuff like that. It's like also things that we used to try to emulate, but we ended up just like sounding like we were imitating instead of emulating. But now we're bringing it back. Like we have some more metal sounding songs, like Mastodon sounding songs, some more fusion sounding songs. But hopefully it doesn't sound like when we used to do it.
Right.
Just
This
sort
is
of
the
like a
Mastodon
carbon
song.
copy.
Yeah.
Or like putting it in different contexts, which is fun to like play heavier music again.
Yeah.
It's a little more mature.
Hopefully.
That's good. You got to put your own style on things. If you sound just like someone else, then everyone's just like, oh, God, we don't need that. We don't need another sounding band like that. So, well, we've talked about a bunch of bands that you guys were listening to or were inspired by. But what are some bands that you're listening to now personally that you just enjoy their music?
My favorite record came out like a little over a year ago, but I've been listening to it like all year, and it's my favorite record. Is Just Is by Adult Jazz. And actually, you and I, Henderson, just saw Slim Charles cover one of their songs. So you got like a little taste if you don't know them. And they're just like doing really cool, inventive, experimental stuff, but like with real instruments. They're all multi-instrumentalists, just like coming at songs from like a weird perspective. And I really like that because that's hard to find. I like a lot of straight up stuff too, but that's just like every time I go back to that, I hear different things. So I'd like the new record to be sort of like that, like very involved, sort of demands multiple listens, that kind of thing.
Nice.
Right. Yeah. The subtlety is what we've always been about, you know, like hopefully if you listen back to it and you realize that there's repeating themes and things like that, you know, we like try to, you know, make it a little nuanced shit.
Yeah, pretty smart music.
We've been talking about it like a Pantera cover, maybe.
Yeah.
So, you know, always that stuff. Also.
Right. Always like the visceral kick-ass stuff, but
Yeah.
also like Bjork and Def Evan.
Visceral kick-ass stuff is exactly how Pantera should just always be described.
Yeah.
What about you other two? Anything that you've been listening to a lot recently?
What is the Bjork album? Post?
Yeah, that one.
I've been listening to that basically on repeat. Post by Bjork. It's so good. Oh my God, she's a genius.
She's the best.
And then also, I'm almost perpetually listening to the Bad Plus. They're like, I don't know. Dave King as a drummer is the guy I look up to. So
nice.
Yeah. I mean, I've been listening to the new Death Heaven. I've been listening to a little TTNG since I saw them a couple weeks ago, and they played a bunch of new stuff, and I was just like, fuck.
Like these guys are so good. Yeah, those are some great influences, and I can definitely hear like a little bit of TTNG with your guys' stuff as well. I think
people come up to me after every show, and I'm like, hey, "Do you know? Like, have you ever heard of TTNG?" I was like, "Yeah."
Yeah. That's
when we first got into them, I had to like really try not to sing with a British accent.
Yeah. All right, so I guess outside of music, what are some things that you guys are into personally? Like, what kind of stuff are you into? I mean, I know a little bit about Andy working on books, and Aaron, you have this drum business, so maybe you want to talk a little bit about that, because I think that's pretty cool.
All right. It's basically a company that two people I went to school with and I started, and we provide drum lines to football teams and various other drum-based entertainment to all kinds of sports events and corporate events and stuff. So I've gone to a huge amount of NFL games in the last 3 years.
So Andy and Nick, what are some stuff that you're into outside of just music?
I'm writing a novel right now because I'm sort of unemployed, so I'm taking the time to do that and rereading Lord of the Rings. Yeah, I'm working actually. I'm almost done with it, and I'm working with the same team that made our CD. Brittany from Pav 9 is doing some bookbinding, and Alexis is doing some illustrations. She did our cover. So sort of the same team that brought you Mention, but this time
Wow.
it's words.
I didn't even know. This time it's words. It's like a weird horror movie where a book eats like a child or something. But what is your book about? What is your novel about? Is it a fiction novel or?
Yeah, I don't have it too catchy of a tagline right now, but it sort of like blends my love for like Lovecraftian weird fiction and old school sci-fi, but hopefully with a little more literary sense. Like I'm not trying to talk about an alien invasion or anything like that. But
It sounds pretty good so far. I mean, we got Lovecraft and aliens, but no aliens. So it's actually just pretty boring. It's normal life.
Yeah, I'm trying to dumb down all that cool, fun stuff and try to make it boring.
All right, that's the master plan. So, Andy, what are you working on? Are you still working on the baseball books?
Yeah, I'm working on a Yogi Berra biography right now,
Nice.
which is good. It's cool. It's too bad he just died, because it would have been nice to talk to him. But we're gonna do it.
Yeah, but now the sales will be higher, right? Come on.
Well, yeah. I mean, it's not going to come out for at least 2 years. So
Yeah, that's true.
not in the post-death wave anymore. But
Damn. Well, too bad you couldn't profit off of his death, right?
yeah.
But that's how a lot of these things are. Like to the time to make a book or a movie now. By the time you finish, you still have like about at least a year usually before it comes out. And it's getting to be that way with music now, especially with vinyl releases too. It takes forever.
Oh my god, it takes forever.
So there's like 4 companies that press vinyl.
Yeah.
You count the number of vinyl pressing machines on your hands, like in the U.S. right now, probably.
Yeah, it's like
Huge
ridiculous how that is because the machines are just so expensive and like nobody's made a vinyl like pressing machine since like the 70s. So they're just like, well, it broke. Okay.
Yeah, there's repurposing
One
old
fewer.
ones.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's kind of an issue right now. Well, we'll see how it works out, how it shakes out. The future music. But who knows? The future of music will be interesting. But I'm excited to see this new Ishmael music coming out. So do you have any idea when it might be out yet? Or is that still too up in the air?
We've been taking our time writing it. We don't want to, like you said, it's like people don't really take their time that much anymore. And I mean, Mention was finished this time last year, so we've been working on it for a while. But right now we're just like in sort of a creative boom, and we don't want to, rush through it instead of letting it be itself. So we're hoping to like record again in the summer.
Yeah.
Nice.
Right. We're going to try and demo extensively on our own so that when we get into the studio, it's not, a rushed, like just get it as good as possible in the time that you have, which obviously will be, but, we'll be just so much more ready to specify exactly what we want.
Yeah.
There's a lot of stuff. We're kind of engaging more with sound design in this actual.
Right. We want to be able to
Release.
manipulate the sound and like.
It kind of goes a little farther than just capturing
Right.
the recorded instruments.
Right. We kind of want to be able to write with the studio as an instrument too, and because we have the capability of doing that in space, we might.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's cool. Good idea, I think. You can't rush it, or else, I don't know, then you get a product that you're not 100%.
Exactly.
Like,
And this is such an investment of time and money and heartache,
Oh, yeah.
You want
You
to
leave it all out there.
exactly. You want to be able to stand behind.
Well, that's pretty much all the questions I had for you guys. I'm definitely excited to hear this new music, and it's good to hear that you're going to be playing some shows different places.